Today we're here with Lucretia-Regina Potter, a Republican leader. We're here at a local neighborhood staple, La Sorrentina, an Italian restaurant and bistro. Your background in politics, how did you get started and your motivation?
I got started in politics in the early 2000s. I didn't like the way the community was deteriorating at that time. I was a small business owner in a family business, and a lot of my colleagues in the business were getting very disgusted about how the city was raising revenue through fines. There were no help for the small business owner, and the small businesses are the backbone of any community. And when you start eliminating small businesses, then you start seeing the neighborhood deteriorate.
And so, what was your first foray into politics? Did you go to a political club?
Yes.
Did you start petitioning? What was that first step that you took?
I was invited, I went to the Republican National Convention back in 2006 in Madison Square Garden. And then I was invited to a meeting to the Fiorello LaGuardia Republican organization, founded by Dr. Ronaldo Ferraro in 1992. He's the last Republican former assemblyman in all of Brooklyn since then to this day. I was very excited and interested in what was going on within the meeting. They were having what they call a district leader county committee race at that time, which is an intra-party race, an inter-Republican party race. They had asked me if I would help, and I said sure. They gave me a sheet of paper and a list of names of all my neighbors, and they said, go out and collect signatures. But having an established business in the neighborhood at that time, a lot of people knew who I was, and they were more receptive to opening their door to me and speaking with me.
And you're a lifelong Republican. Tell me, New York State and New York City is known as a blue state, a blue city. How do you see yourself as one of those people kind of on the outside of the main political club here in New York City?
I remember back in the mid-'80s, as a senior at Bishop Conning High School, Ronald Reagan was the president. And to this day, most of the women that I went to high school with are lifelong Republicans. Because we lived the 80s. We lived Reaganomics. You know, I am a Ronald Reagan Republican. We've experienced his policies and how things worked. So it was interesting to get involved in that aspect. And, you know, there's always some partisan politics here and there. But it is important on the local level. And I think going back to getting the young people involved is a big step, because it kind of sets the mold for what they're going to work on and move forward on going forward.
Speaking of young people, right now there's really an energy between the 18 to 25-year-olds to really get involved in politics. They're known as progressives now. They seem to be on the Democratic side. Tell me what your feelings are about that and why it's so important to get involved at a young age, but also be knowledgeable. You know, they're introducing legislation that would create mandatory civic classes for high school seniors. Why is it that demographic is so important to energize at such a young age?
That's the future of America. That's the future of our neighborhood. I think social media plays a big part of it nowadays. I remember growing up, you met your friends and you lifted up the payphone and you decided where you were going to meet and you all met up. Now everybody's on the phone and they see and experience things and they're more exposed to things that normally teenagers or young people wouldn't be. And you know what? I have to give commendations to our young people. I'm the parent of 2 millennials. They are very sharp. They're on the ball. They know what they want, and they're very goal-oriented and focused, these young people today. And I think it's great that they're getting involved. However, I have foresee that the progressives of today will become the conservatives of tomorrow once they get married or have their own family and start really getting into the workforce and know what it's like to have the responsibility of paying bills, just doing things that life throws at you.
Living life,
life.
Normal life. It's interesting as well because these progressives seem to be these insurgent candidates. Do you think that's important to have some sort of revolution when it comes to politics, to have some type of rogue candidates every once in a while that just are out there, and they're doing their thing?
Of course, it's phenomenal that these young people are getting involved. ideology shift. But the fact that they're stepping up to the plate now, again, progresses the path towards the future. And I think it's wonderful that you have some road candidates because it creates excitement. It creates interest. We have some assembly members in Brooklyn that are in office over 30 years. Some are even there in the state 40 years, 50 years. That's just too long. So I believe in term limits. You need some fresh blood. And you have to run it, I believe, somewhat like a business because you need fresh ideas, creativity, innovation. The worst thing you can hear is that it's always been done like that. That's why we do it. So yeah, bring in the young people. Let's listen. I think we have a problem with listening to them. I think we're more concerned with getting our own opinion out there and expressing it, but not really listening to what, I can't say the kids, but the young people are saying.
Kind of disappointing this year that we have less seats in the city council as females. Why is it so important for women to run and have their voices heard, not just as a female, but somebody who's in the community and also recognizes issues?
Women, unfortunately, have always been pushed aside in politics until recently with this whole Me Too movement. I recently helped a young lady get on the ballot up in Harlem, complete ideological opposites, but we met at a meeting of the National Women's Political Caucus, and she was very upset because they have thrown her off the ballot. The establishment threw her off the ballot 4 times. And all she wanted was the right to run. And I said to her, you call me, we met, I helped her, and she made the ballot.
It's amazing.
And and this is someone completely opposite end of the political spectrum. But as women, we were able to sit down, discuss the issues, discuss what she needed to do, and just get her motivated and get other women motivated to say, you know what, there are people supporting you. You're not out there alone. And it's so nice to go to this political caucus with the women because we sit down and we discuss things. We listen to each other. And even though we're, again, on the opposite end of the political spectrum, there's a lot of respect there. And that's what's lacking in politics today, the respect. And women still take the extra effort to respect each other. And I think it's great that that woman I helped made the ballot, and she's motivated to keep on running going forward. Because now she knows she has support. There are people that will help her, regardless of what she believes in.
Right.
Because she has a right to run. Everybody has a right to run. No one should control that. Unfortunately, the city of New York has a very archaic system for getting on the ballot.
Yeah.
Very technical, very rules-oriented, and there's a certain organization that's an administrative body that I have seen over the years that is actually bending laws or interpreting laws in ways that they shouldn't be because they are not judges. They don't have the right to interpret it that way, but they're getting away with it. There's a lot of challenges that go forth for someone that collects their signatures. They challenged the format of the petition. They challenged the fact that the I wasn't dotted or the T wasn't crossed. And unfortunately, and I think this is something that should be expanded on going forward, there are no programs or help for anybody that's challenged on the ballot going to court. All those court fees have to be paid out of pocket. So you have to have funds set aside or resources wasted, I think, staying on the ballot.
Right.
And it's unfair to a lot of people because once they hear what the attorney's fees are and once they see what the filing fees are, because we're talking a lot of times just regular neighborhood people,
right,
working class people that want to make a difference, and then they see the adversity that they come across and they see the challenges that they face, and they want to just step back.
And what advice would you give to somebody that's just a normal neighborhood person? It's like, I feel like getting involved, but I don't know who to talk to. I don't know where to go. I feel like I'm too young, or I don't have the right. I don't look like those people. Where would you tell them to start first? What would be their first step?
I would say go and talk to the people in the neighborhood, and see what the issues are in the community. Look around for some local political clubs if you want to go that route and get involved that way, or create your own club. and do it yourself. And just find, a type of balance between like-minded people and people that do and will disagree with you. Because at the end of the day, like Phil LaGuardia said, doesn't matter if you're a Republican or if you're a Democrat. All that matters is that the garbage gets picked up. And that's what it's about, is the neighborhood. If the neighborhood is taken care of, and as a woman, I feel you need to take care of your home first, because that's what's closest to your heart. If you can't take care of your home and see what's going on around you, then, think about it. Clarified a few things. I hope I informed the voter. But if anybody out there is interested in running for office, please contact Kings County Politics if you'd like to speak with me. I'd be more than happy to speak with you and to discuss your race. And who knows, you may be the next governor, the next president.
Right. And don't be afraid of political affiliation.
Don't be afraid of politics. If the door doesn't open for you, kick it open. You'll get in.